Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss Nirmala, one of the greatest social novel written by Munshi Premchand. Nirmala is a powerful social realist novel that exposes the evils of the dowry system, child marriage, mismatched marriage, patriarchal suspicion, and gender inequality. Through the tragic life of a young girl named Nirmala, Premchand shows how one social evil can destroy an entire family. Historical background, let's see. During the early 20th century, dowry was considered an important part of marriage in India. Girls were often married at a very young age, sometimes too much older men, sometimes with too much older men. Women had little freedom, and society judged them by tradition rather than justice. Premchand wrote Nirmala to expose these cruel customs and encourage social reform. The story begins with Nirmala, a beautiful, innocent, and intelligent 15-year-old girl. She lives happily with her parents, Uday Bhanu Lal, a respected lawyer, and Kalyani, her loving mother. She also has a younger sister named Krishna. Her marriage is arranged with Bhuvan Mohan Sinha, the son of a wealthy family. At first, everything appears perfect because the groom's family does not openly demand a large dowry. Instead, they expect a grand wedding and lavish hospitality for the wedding guests. Wanting to maintain his social prestige, Uday Bhanu spent far beyond his financial limits on the wedding preparations. His wife Kalyani warns him not to waste so much money because they also have another daughter, Krishna, whose marriage must be arranged in the future. Their disagreement turned into a heated argument. Hurt and angry, Udebhanu leaves home impulsively. While away from home, tragedy strikes. He is murdered by a criminal whom he had once sent to prison during his legal career. His sudden death completely changes the family future. Without its main earning member, the family falls into severe financial crisis. When Bhuvan Mohan's family realizes that the Nirmala family has lost both wealth and social status, they cancel the marriage. The dream of Nirmala's happy future is destroyed simply because her family can no longer provide the expected dowry and prestige. This becomes the first major tragedy in Nirmala's life. Now, what happened? Kalyani, Nirmala mother, now faces a difficult situation. She worries that keeping an unmarried daughter at home will damage the family's reputation and become an even greater burden. After several unsuccessful attempts to find another suitable match, she agrees to marry Nirmala to Munshi Totaram, a wealthy but elderly widower who is almost 20 to 25 years older than Nirmala. Totaram already has three sons. From his first marriage, his son name is Mansaram, the eldest son, who is almost Nirmala age, Jayaram, and the youngest is Siyaram. He also has a widowed sister named Rukmani who lives in the same house. Although Nirmala accepts the marriage out of duty and respect for her mother, she enters her new home with sadness rather than happiness. Nirmala performs all her household in Totaram house. She performs all her household responsibilities sincerely. She is polite, caring, patient, and respectful towards everyone. Among Totaram's children, Mansaram becomes her close companion because they belong to the same generation. Their relationship is completely pure, innocent, and respectful, almost like that of a brother and sister. Mansaram understands Nirmala's loneliness better than anyone else in the family. However, Totaram is much older than Nirmala. He hopes for romantic affection from his young wife but receives only respect and duty. His widowed sister Rukmini secretly begins poisoning his mind. She repeatedly suggests that Nirmala and Mansaram shares an improper relationship. Slowly, suspicion replaces trust. Totaram becomes jealous and insecure. Instead of believing his wife and son, he believes rumors. And the greatest tragedy happened. To separate Nirmala from Mansaram, Totaram sends Mansaram to a hostel. Away from home, Mansaram becomes lonely and seriously ill. He develops tuberculosis. When Nirmala learns about his illness, she rushes to help him. She even donates blood in the hope of saving his life. Unfortunately, Mansaram dies. Only after his death does Tudaram realize that his suspicion was completely false. He understands that Nirmala and Mansaram had always shared a pure relationship. But this realization comes too late. This is the emotional turning point of the novel. And when what's happened? The family falls apart. After Mansaram's death, peace disappears from the household. Influenced by Rukmini, the younger sons begins blaming Nirmala for their brother's death. One son rebels against the family and brings further sorrow. The family slowly collapses under guilt, misunderstanding, and emotional pain. Unable to bear the burden of his mistakes, Totaram leaves home in despair. Years later, Bhuvan Mohan Sinha, Nirmala original fiancé, returns as a doctor. भुवन मोहन जिससे कि निर्मला की शादी होने वाली थी, तो वो एक डॉक्टर बन के लौटा है. ही लर्न्स अबाउट निर्मला tragic life and deeply regrets breaking their marriage because of dowry. To correct his mistakes, he arranges the marriage of his younger brother with Nirmala's younger sister, Krishna. However, after meeting Nirmala again, Bhuvan Mohan develops feelings for her. His wife, Sudha, who is also Nirmala's friend, notices his notices this emotional conflict, and unable to overcome his guilt and inner turmoil, Bhuvan Mohan eventually ends his own life. Through this episode, Premchand shows that greed and wrong decisions continue to destroy lives long after they are made. Nirmala's life becomes a continuous journey of sorrow. She gives birth to a daughter named Asa. However, years of suffering, loneliness, emotional pain, and poor health weaken her completely. Realizing that death is near, she entrusts little Asa to Rukmani, and soon afterward, Nirmala dies. When Totaram finally returns home, filled with filled with guilt and repentance, he discovers that Nirmala is no more. He realizes that his jealousy and mistrust have destroyed not only his wife but his entire family. So, major theme here is dowry system, child marriage, mismatched marriage, patriarchal society, suspicion and jealousy, women suffering, family relationships, social realism, and moral responsibility. Central message Premchand has given here is clearly shows that dowry is not simply a financial problem. It destroys family and relationship and innocent lives. The novel teaches us that marriage should be based on love, trust, and equality. Suspicion is more dangerous than poverty. Women should never become victim of social custom, and society must reject dowry and child marriage to ensure justice and happiness. So, Nirmala is not just the tragic story of one young woman. It is the story of thousands of women whose dreams were destroyed by social customs, greed, mistrust, and patriarchal thinking. Through Nirmala's silent suffering, Munshi Premchand asked readers to build a society where marriages are based on love instead of dowry, trust instead of suspicion, and equality instead of tradition. That is why Nirmala remains one of the most powerful and relevant social novel in Indian literature. Thank you for watching.